Hey guys, welcome to my channel and thanks for being here today. Today's video is going to be in honor of Michelle Trachtenberg. It was announced earlier this week that on February 26th she passed away at the age of 39, which is obviously far too young and is very heartbreaking news. Of course, my heart goes out first and foremost to her friends and family and those who loved and knew her most. And I know many of us grew up watching Michelle, myself included. Harriet the Spy was one of my favorite movies as a kid, and as a teenager, Gossip Girl was one of my favorite shows. And I guess I felt an extra connection to Michelle because when I was younger I was always told that I looked just like her as a kid, and I know many people grew up watching Michelle and also felt a connection to her, so I thought it would be nice to pay tribute to her and honor her life and career. So let's get right into it. Michelle Christine Trachtenberg was born in New York City on October 11th, 1985. Her parents, Lana and Michael, were Jewish immigrants, her mother from Russia and her father from Germany. Michelle was the youngest of two daughters, and from a young age her parents recognized her potential for acting. It was said that she was immediately very passionate about acting from a young age, and she started her career very young. So Michelle was raised in Sheepshead Bay in Brooklyn, and she began her career at the age of just 3 years old in a commercial for whisk detergent. She would go on to feature in over 100 commercials, but got her first television role at age 6 on season 2 of Law and Order. Her first major role, however, was on the Nickelodeon series The Adventures of Pete and Pete. She played Nona F. Mecklenburg from 1994 until 1996, and during this same time she also played Lily Montgomery on the soap opera All My Children. Michelle left The Adventures of Pete and Pete in 1996 during season 3 of the show to begin her film career playing the titular role in Harriet the Spy, which absolutely iconic movie. It holds up to this day. It's so heartfelt and heartwarming. It makes you laugh, it makes you cry. It's such a good movie. And this actually shot Michelle into the limelight and won her a Young Artist Award. Michelle said in an interview at the time, quote, "I saw a lot of myself in her because we have a lot of things in common. Like we both love to read and write, we wear the same clothing like baggy jeans, and we eat the same foods, tomato sandwiches." And seeing Michelle in Harriet the Spy, but also in interviews at around this time, she's just such a bubbly, energetic, refreshing personality. It was clear from the start that she had star power, and she was also just absolutely adorable. Following this, she starred in the TV series Migo, which did earn her a second Young Artist Award. However, the series was short-lived. In 1999, Michelle continued her film career in Inspector Gadget alongside Matthew Broderick, in which she played his niece. Michelle said about her experience on the film, quote, "This is my first real big gadgety special effects movie, and I think it was just so fun coming to set every day," end quote. She was nominated for 2 more Young Artist Awards for her role in the film. And that same year she also starred in the film Can't Be Heaven. In the year 2000, at the age of 14, Michelle took on the role of Dawn Summers in season 5 of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Dawn was Buffy's mysterious sister who would go on to be an important character on the show and a fan favorite. While working on the show, Michelle said about her co-star, Sarah Michelle Gellar, quote, "I have a sister on the set, which is very important to me. She's wonderful. She's a beautiful person inside and out." Michelle remained on the show until it ended in 2003, and her performance won her another Young Artist Award, as well as nominations for Teen Choice Awards and Saturn Awards. This is definitely known to be one of Michelle's most iconic and memorable roles, and really solidified her fame. She said about the show after it wrapped, quote, "I'm sure that in some way, shape or form, Buffy will be continued, or the story through the fans, because we do have such devoted fans, and that's always been very sweet." And I believe that it was recently announced that Buffy is going to be remade, which I think some fans were a bit iffy about. And Michelle did post recently, or I think last year, a picture of herself and Sarah Michelle Gellar as a little throwback, talking about how much she loved those days. So it does make me wonder if perhaps she would have guest starred on the new show or not, but that's just speculation, of course. So during the time that she was on Buffy, from 2001 to 2003, she also hosted the Discovery Kids series Truth or Scare, which resulted in another nomination for a Young Artist Award, as well as a nomination for an Emmy. One thing that I thought was really interesting was that during all of this time, when she was a child and a teenager embarking on her career, she was also being bullied at school. So I have a rather large quote from Michelle about this. She said, "Kids, boys and girls both, were very cruel to me all throughout school, and particularly in high school, when girls were getting boobies and I didn't have any. I was a really late bloomer. I was tortured, made fun of. When I was in elementary school, this one girl threw me down a flight of stairs, fractured my ribs, punched and fractured my nose, and told the principal I used the word bitch and got me sent to detention, the only time I've ever been thrown in detention in my life. When I was in junior high school, there was a whole gang of girls who would push me into lockers and steal my clothes after gym so I wouldn't have anything to wear." End quote. So I thought this was really heartbreaking to hear about, and I imagine it probably was down to jealousy, because Michelle was such a bright light, and she was also becoming more and more successful in her career. She was also a gorgeous girl, so I just couldn't believe the extent of the bullying that she went through. And during her teen years, she also struggled, as many young actresses do, with people essentially being really creepy about her turning 18. She said, quote, "I heard that there were Trachtenberg to 18 counters. Even at the time, I was like, you're never gonna get a chance, so what's your counter for?" End quote, which, excellent point, but men are just disgusting sometimes. And I know many other young actresses and stars such as the Olsen twins went through the same thing, which is horrible, and I can't imagine going through that, as well as bullying all in your teen years, which is just ugh. But back to Michelle's career. After Buffy the Vampire Slayer had ended, Michelle appeared as Jenny in the comedy film Eurotrip in 2004. I personally haven't seen the film, but just before Michelle's death, I'd been seeing little edits of it on social media and whatnot, and it kind of made me want to watch the film. And this definitely contributed to Michelle's status as a teen icon. In the same year, she starred alongside Joseph Gordon-Levitt in the film Mysterious Skin as Wendy, the best friend of Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character. In March 2005, Michelle starred in the Disney movie Ice Princess as Casey Carlisle, and this is one of her most well-known movie roles and another fan favorite. I always see people talking about this movie, and I remember watching it during the school holidays myself, but it's been a while, so it's another one I will have to revisit because I know it is very well loved. In 2006, Michelle had a guest star role on her favourite TV show House and also guest starred on Law and Order: Criminal Intent. The same year, she starred in the remake of the 1974 slasher Black Christmas and starred in the film Beautiful Ohio, which won her the Breakthrough Performer Award at the Sarasota Film Festival. Michelle also starred in several music videos, including Fall Out Boy's This Ain't a Scene, It's an Arms Race, Ringside's Tired of Being Sorry, and Trapped's Echo. In 2008, Michelle began her role on the hit CW show Gossip Girl as the iconic Georgina Sparks, which is arguably one of her biggest impacts on pop culture because Georgina, in my opinion, is the best character on the show. I mean, she is awful, but every time she's on screen, she's so magnetic and she just steals the show, and she's so devious and evil, but her performance is just phenomenal. In an interview with 17 magazine in 2009, Michelle stated, quote, "It's kind of easy to be evil when you're saying evil things. It's definitely a lot more fun than playing the good girl. I love the reaction you get. I never understood why some actors don't want to play villains or evil characters." End quote. So it sounds like she really enjoyed playing Georgina as well as being absolutely fabulous at it. I do have another quote that I thought was really good. She said, quote, "It's super fun to play the bad girl. I love bringing out the inner nasty. Every woman secretly has an inner bitch deep down inside, including myself. But with the scenarios that Georgina is in and the lines from the script, the evil naturally comes out and flows really well for me. I don't take the nastiness offset, but sometimes when the paparazzi get in my face, Georgina comes out." End quote. So I think she's so right. We all have an inner Georgina. So Michelle remained on Gossip Girl until it ended in 2012. During her time on the show in 2009, she was also cast in the NBC drama series Mercy, which did only end up lasting one season. But that same year, she starred in the movie 17 again alongside Matthew Perry and Zac Efron. And that is another excellent fan favorite. I honestly think it's underrated. It's one of those really cheesy, goofy teen rom-coms, but definitely worth a watch. In 2011, she guest starred on Love Bites and Weeds, and in 2012 she was cast in the film The Scribbler, a sci-fi film that was based on the graphic novel of the same name and would be Michelle's final film appearance before her death. However, Michelle did continue to have roles in several TV shows, including guest star roles in Criminal Minds and NCIS Los Angeles in 2013. In 2015, she starred in the web series Guidance, playing Anna, the high school guidance counselor, and in 2022, she actually reprised her role as Georgina Sparks in season 2 of the HBO remake of Gossip Girl. I didn't even realize she made an appearance on the show. I'm pretty sure the show itself was a disaster that nobody asked for or wanted, but I would go and watch it just to see Michelle as Georgina again, honestly. Michelle also had voice acting roles in several projects, including Robot Chicken, The Superhero Squad Show, and Human Kind Of. In 2023, Michelle had a voice acting role in Apple TV's animated series adaptation of Harriet the Spy, and she had mentioned in earlier years that she always continued to be inspired by her role in the film all those years ago, which I thought was just a really beautiful full circle moment. So those are some of the highlights of Michelle's career. She was clearly an incredible, versatile actress who many of us grew up watching and loving. She's played so many fan favorite characters, and by all accounts she was incredibly hardworking and well liked off set as well. Tragically, Michelle was taken far too soon, and on February 26, 2025, was discovered unresponsive by her mother in her Manhattan apartment at 8 a.m. Emergency services were called and she was pronounced dead at the scene at the age of just 39. Authorities have confirmed that her death was not being treated as suspicious, and her death has been reported to be of natural causes. However, her exact cause of death will remain as undetermined due to her family's objections to an autopsy on religious grounds. We do know that Michelle had some health issues in prior years and had supposedly quite recently undergone a liver transplant, which some believe her body may have rejected, resulted in her passing. Since her death, several of her friends and co-stars have come forward to express their grief and condolences. So I thought it might be nice to end this video with some words of the people who she worked with and who loved her most. Rosie O'Donnell, who of course was her co-star in Harriet the Spy, said, quote, "I loved her very much. She struggled the last few years. I wish I could have helped," end quote. And I think she is referring to Michelle's health struggles. However, some people have said that Michelle did struggle with alcohol abuse over the years, so I'm not sure if that's what she's referring to, but either way. Kim Cattrall, who was her co-star in Ice Princess, said, quote, "This is heartbreaking. So talented, much too young. Rest in peace, sweet beauty," end quote. Moving on to some of the tributes and quotes from her Buffy the Vampire Slayer co-stars. Sarah Michelle Gellar posted adapting a quote from Buffy, which said, quote, "Michelle, listen to me. Listen. I love you. I will always love you. The hardest thing in this world is to live in it. I will be brave. I will live for you," end quote. Alison Hannigan said, quote, "I am deeply saddened by the news of Michelle's passing. She brought a loving energy to the set of Buffy. My thoughts are with Michelle's family and friends," end quote. James Masters said, quote, "My heart is heavy today. We have lost a beautiful soul. Michelle was fiercely intelligent, howlingly funny, and a very talented person. She died much too young and leaves behind scores of people who knew and loved her." Emma Caulfield said, quote, "Sleep well, Michelle. The Buffy family has lost a little sister. I'm sorry your bright light died so young," end quote. Moving on to a couple of quotes / tributes from her Gossip Girl co-stars. Blake Lively had quite a lengthy post, so I'm not going to read the whole thing. But she said, quote, "You knew when she entered a room because the vibration changed. Everything she did 200%. She laughed the fullest at someone's joke. She faced authority head on when she felt something was wrong. She cared deeply about her work. She was proud to be a part of this community and industry, as painful as it could be sometimes. She was fiercely loyal to her friends and brave for those she loved. She was big and bold and distinctly herself," end quote. Cat appearance. Where are you, baby? What are you doing? She's probably wondering what I'm doing more than anything. Hi, sweetie. Hi. Chase Crawford said, quote, "Michelle was one of a kind. I remember her coming on set for the first time and just absolutely owning it. She was a force of nature and just so unapologetically funny and magnetic. Remembering those years with a big smile. Just a terrible loss. Love you." And those were just a few of the tributes to Michelle. I'm sure there will be many more, not to mention the tributes of fans. I've been seeing tributes and edits of Michelle on social media, which I have found really touching and just a nice way to remember her. And I guess this is just my little tribute to the absolute icon that she was. She will not be forgotten. She has been such an important part of many people's childhoods and lives, and we will always remember her fondly. So rest in peace, Michelle Trachtenberg. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.